Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Purple Door. My name is Nicole Castillo, and I am here today with a very powerful guest by the name of Candace Christensen. She is, sorry,
You're fine.
this is my first show. She is a wife and mother. She works from home in the beauty industry as well as the holistic health industry. And she is an advocate for education, empowerment, positive growth mindset. And she loves to uplift and validate people all around her. And I can vouch for that. So Candace is part of my beauty team. She has definitely supported me with coming out of my comfort zone, being more self-confident, and she encourages me to be more of myself. She was actually one of the people who first inspired me to get into coaching. We've known each other for a very long time. This is her gorgeous daughter, Emma. Emma, can you be shy? She's like, no, I'm going to be shy. Her sister also, Maddie, we invited her to be on the show as well. She couldn't today because she was working. But if you notice our hair, Maddie is the other half of my beauty team. Yeah, beautiful hair, huh, Emma? So, all right. I wanted to welcome everyone here, our viewers here today to our show. And I would like to start off with, what are we celebrating today? What we're celebrating?
We're celebrating new beginnings. We have the new year. I got a lot of people like to start over on the new year or just create a new thing. I'm celebrating that I found the 1,000 hours outside in a year challenge because I think that's amazing. Where'd it go? And yeah, what are you celebrating?
Today I'm celebrating this coming into fruition that we are here on this podcast, Beyond the Purple Door. Today we're going to be talking about how getting ready for your day impacts your mental health. So I'm celebrating being here with you and with our viewers. It looks like Tana's here. Hi, Tana. And let's see what else happened last week that was good. I'm celebrating being able to have more time with family with the holiday. So
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted to just touch on your why. What is it that lights you up? How do your routines and getting ready for the day, why is that important?
She's one of my biggest whys. I want to set that good example in showing her that you are worth taking time getting ready. You are worth doing those nice things for yourself, and that I don't know, like your self-worth isn't dictated by other people. So you showing him your elephant? It's so pretty. My other why is that I've come across so many people who don't have that self-confidence, and so I love to empower and uplift them and help them see that they are a powerful human being, and they deserve to have that self-confidence in themselves, and that they are capable of facing any challenge that they come across. And yeah, I think that's my biggest why. So teaching special education, all my students had some sort of something that seems to hold them back. And so positive growth mindset became my thing. Like, I tried to help them see that maybe they couldn't do it yet, but they could do it eventually. And I think that carries on into our adult lives. Maybe we can't do something yet, but we can do it eventually. It just takes either practice or research or whatever it is, changing our routine. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. Can't do it yet. So I know when Nick and Ryan, they went and taught 300 special ed teachers down in Southern Utah. And one of the special ed teachers that got up and shared, he said that parents, they kind of go through a grieving process when they give birth to a special needs child. And he would tell them, like, they'd say, well, my child can't do this. And the teacher would say, yet, your child can't do this yet. So I totally love that. That totally resonates for me. And I know that's like a special ed teachers are just like a different breed of human being. They're just totally amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about routines and how it supported you with your students when you were teaching
Absolutely.
special ed? Yeah.
Absolutely. So my students, a lot of them specifically had behavioral issues. When we say behavioral issues, it's a negative behavior that we don't like. That happens often. But this does not mean that they are bad students or bad people. I think a lot of people, like I've had even parents say, well, uh, these hooligans, like, I'm like, they're not hooligans. They just have a set of behaviors that have impacted, and it is given them something, and so that's become their routine. If this happens, then I behave this way, and it gives me either the attention or something that I want. It gives them something that they're wanting or desire. So we want to change that behavior into a positive behavior to get them what they are seeking. And routines really helped that because it signaled them, like in the morning we always had like morning work time, but it was more of a like, okay, we're going to get ready for being at school. And some of them have been on the bus for a long time because my students didn't necessarily come from the neighborhood. They came from a couple neighborhoods over. So they sometimes they would be on the bus for like an hour. So I didn't want to start into the day of just like, now we're going to learn. No. So we would have quiet boxes, and they would come in, and we would, for the first like 10 minutes of the day, we just did our quiet boxes. It was just like quiet time. Like, we're going to reset. We're going to be like, okay, we're at school, and this is okay that we're at school. We're getting ready for our morning routine. And then I would also set a timer so that they could have that visual reference of like, I have this many minutes left in this particular routine. And then the timer would go off and we would switch routines. And sometimes I would have a student go up. I had the schedule on my board. It was very visual. They could see it. They had the pictures of what it was because some of my students couldn't read, and that's okay. They had that visual of like, okay, this is morning work time. Now we're going to go into our rug time and review what our classroom rules are, and then what day it is, what day of the week it is, and what happens on this day. Because we had, different activities for different days. And that really set them up for success. So I feel like sometimes routines get kind of a bad rap of like, oh, well, you're in a routine, you're in a rut. But that's not necessarily the case. I feel like when that can be the case. And in that case, then your routine isn't serving you anymore and you need to change it. But a routine helps. There's something in your brain called stimulus cues, something that happens in your brain, I should say. It's called stimulus cues. And it cues your body and your brain to be like, oh, we're getting ready for a different activity. And this is the activity that we're getting ready for because this is the routine that happens every time I XYZ. Um, so I think that's very interesting. And then also, it helps to reduce your anxiety about your day or about the activity that you're going into or whichever happens. So I've seen that with my students. I've seen that just in myself as I became a stay-at-home mom. My routine got totally changed in a most amazing and abrupt way. But like,
Yeah.
so, your routines are often changing, and that's okay, and that's good. Um, the change is good. It just has to you just have to make sure that your routine that changes to. And we talked a little bit about this, how our routine this morning was totally discombobulated, and it kind of created a little bit of a like a weirdness. While
Yeah. It did. Having my son is homesick today, after being off school for 2 weeks, and so I was thinking today I'd be getting back into my schedule, getting back into my routine, and then it changed, like, very suddenly last night, and so I'm feeling like the anxiety and the scatter, with coming into today and my routine being disrupted. And I love that you said, like, it's okay. It's okay that your routine, gets thrown off sometimes.
Mhm.
And with it being the beginning of the year, I feel like a lot of people are maybe wanting to change their routines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, my husband Parker and I were talking about that very thing last night of, okay, so what we've been doing isn't serving us very well anymore. As you know, we did physical therapy for a few months and we graduated and they gave us at home exercises. And we have failed to do those exercises at all.
Yeah.
And we have noticed that we have regressed. Some of the pains are coming back, and it's because we're not supporting that muscle group anymore, and things. So we were talking about, okay, what is a routine that could support us in getting those exercises done, and could we do them together? Because we were in the routine of going to physical therapy together and doing those exercises together, and so we're going to try to do those, try to figure out a routine to fit those in at the end of the day when he gets home from work. Like, as your husband works a lot of hours, so does my husband. He doesn't get home till like 6 p.m. So figuring out, okay, well, how are we going to fit those in? And we know it's going to be beneficial for us. How do we set ourselves up for success in that change area?
Yeah. And so I know with the new year, it seems like people take on like massive amounts of change,
Right.
as soon as the clock hits 12 o'clock, like
Yep.
on New Year's Eve, like people, they want to take on massive changes.
Yep.
So that in itself can cause some anxiety and
Yep.
overwhelm, right?
Yeah.
And so usually it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Hmm.
And so when getting ready for the day, taking a look at our habits and how they serve us, and that it's okay that you're doing physical therapy at night instead of first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and really asking yourself, is this serving me? Is this not serving me? And um, being open to shifting and changing. Um, so with getting ready in the morning, I know we were talking before about not having to get up in the morning and get ready and having it be okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
I
what
think to illustrate that, I'll share what my routine is in the
yeah,
morning.
I love that.
I I think when people see me and they see like, oh, she did her makeup and like my look today is very basic, but I can get extravagant and everything. Oh, she must spend hours in the morning getting ready. False. I don't.
Okay, good. I don't have to judge myself anymore because I
No. And when you say like she's part of my beauty team and I do like the makeup stuff and I do and I love the makeup stuff, but that's not the thing I do right in the morning. And in fact, I feel like a lot of people will hear my routine and be like, that's a little backwards. And it's fine because it works for me. We get up, my little one and I, we get up and we come down. We're still in our jammies. We come down and we get breakfast. And then I sit on the couch with her and I immediately start work. And a lot of people were like, "You work in your pajamas?" Yep, I sure do.
Isn't that like a goal? Like that's been my long
Right?
goal.
That's my goal. I get to work in my pajamas. If I don't have to go somewhere immediately in the beginning of the day, I'm not getting ready right at the beginning of my day. There are days when I do get immediately ready, but most of the time, I'm working in my PJs until I am done working. I'm done making the calls. I'm done scheduling my patients. I'm done scheduling our Facebook and Instagram posts. Like, I'm done answering comments on those pages that I run. Um, and then I get ready for my day. And I might not even leave the house that day. Like, but I spend a little bit of time like washing my face, getting my hair done, and putting makeup on because that makes me feel good. And then that sets me up for a more productive later day. Um,
Yeah,
See, Tana, she has to get ready immediately in the day or it doesn't happen. I actually do have a time limit on this for myself as well. Like if I am not ready, if I don't get ready by 12:30, it's not happening. Like, and that's okay. Um, for me, getting ready like this uh, sets me up to be a little bit more productive in the rest of my day. I am going to do some other training. I might get some other paperwork stuff done uh, for work because I am blessed to be able to make my own hours. So I don't necessarily have to just do it all in the morning. I can do it later in the day too. But my activities for that work change based on how I'm dressed.
oh, I love that.
um, and that's how it has helped me be productive. When I first started working for my clinic that I work for, it's Life Health Medical Center. um, I hadn't been working for like working. I don't know. Emma was I haven't been working for like 2.5 years, right? So I was used to just taking my time, doing whatever I want to do it. Like Emma and I would go on little adventures in the morning. We come back home, we'd eat lunch, we'd get down for a nap. And that was my life of doing that and like house stuff. Things that, you just your regular maybe weekend, but it was my everyday. So um getting back into work, I should say, I had to refigure out a routine that worked for me. And for me, getting up and getting ready right away doesn't work for me. I actually, it feels a little bit more overwhelming to me to do that. I feel like I'm wasting time, which is weird. I just feel like I just need to get right going. And if I can't, then the rest of my day kind of gets jumbled and I'm not as productive as I could be. So finding the things that work for you and then finding what you enjoy about your routines and then making sure you do that. If you're not enjoying your routine, it's not serving you. It's more of a hindrance to your day than it is like a helpful thing. Oh,
Yeah, I love that. And it's like with working with my clients with habit change, I do habit change method. It's like small changes made over
yes.
long periods of time.
Yes.
So when you find a routine that no longer serves you, then you can implement the new routine. But for some people, like I'll use getting up in the morning and going to the gym, right? Because
Right.
some of my clients, that's the only time they have to
Mhm.
work out, but it's like getting up in the morning. So just setting your alarm for 5:30 in the morning or whatever your time frame is that you're giving yourself. And you said have a timeline. So just getting them in the habit of setting the alarm
Yeah.
and having their gym clothes right
Hmm.
there and seeing their gym clothes. So they're waiting for them. And that way, when they get up in the morning, they don't even have to get out of bed, but they can see like, okay, it's 5:30. There are my gym clothes. They're ready. And then the next day, it's like, see the time that you get up, see your gym clothes, put your gym clothes on, even if you climb back into bed. And then it's like,
Yeah.
and then you get up at 5:30, you put on your gym clothes, you go to the front door, you put on your shoes. And even if you don't make it out the door, like that's a win. So the small changes made over a long period of time instead of just like throwing yourself
An
into
abrupt
this new
change.
routine. Yeah, and
Yes. Yes.
getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And then I would also say, and this comes from my teaching background, any change that you are making or routine that you're trying out, different technique, give yourself at least 2 weeks of doing that to see if it's serving you or not serving you. Because if you really need that time to really see if something's working or not. And you can't just like try it for one day and like, didn't work. Like,
Yeah.
I'll use like your like diet example of like I ate salads all day for one day and I didn't lose any weight. It's like, well, you
Yeah.
only did it for one day. you your body doesn't change overnight, and so neither does your routine, and
Yeah.
neither do your habits. So
Yeah.
yes.
You're literally building new neural pathways in your brain. And so it's going to take
Yes.
repetition. And the more
Mhm.
repetition, the easier it will become.
Yes.
So I love this with Tabitha that she says, I live by my calendar on my phone. I found that I do better getting into the gym if I put a meeting with myself on my calendar. And I love that
Right.
people are putting themselves into the calendar, their self-care, their gym time,
Yeah.
and treating it like it's a sacred appointment with yourself. Like you would
Right.
not cancel a you would not cancel a doctor's appointment or you would not cancel a dentist appointment. So why do we cancel our self-care time, right?
Exactly.
It should be our most, I say should be. It's a very sacred time for ourselves that we put ourselves first. And I think that's so powerful,
Mhm.
Tabitha, to do that with your calendar.
Absolutely. And I think that's a mindset shift that has to happen a lot of times is um, I like that.
Salads. I'm definitely Tana says we're both laughing. Tana says, "I'm definitely gonna do an episode on salads. I have issues, friends. It's fine." Yeah, and the thing is like what you're telling yourself, like Tana and I were talking yesterday about pizza and french fries and what it is that you tell yourself when you're eating the pizza and french fries. I told her, like, "I had pizza for breakfast today. I'm not judging myself for it. Like, I'm not gonna feel guilty because
No.
this self-talk that we have, if I tell my body, like, this is gonna make me blank, 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 like my body is going to listen. So why wouldn't I choose like this pizza is going to make me feel empowered to take on my day. It's going to give me all the nutrition that I need. And yeah, so I love that.
Mhm.
Tana, if you do a show about salads, I totally would love to know when that's happening so that I can watch. That would be super fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
going back to the sacred self-care time, I think there's a lot of negative about there's been a shift. There's been a shift into like, oh, you need to do more self-care and everything. But there's still that negative connotation to it of like, oh, you're so selfish taking time for
Mhm.
yourself. And that's not it at all. I always use the you can't pour from an empty cup metaphor. You have to restore your energy and you have to be putting in things for yourself in order to be able to give of yourself. And so I for me especially that was like a bigger eye opener when I became a new mom. And I think that is the case for a lot of people. And moms feel moms and dads, they feel very like, oh, I have to do this and I have to keep doing this and I have to take the time to help my child and make sure that I'm taking care of everything. And it doesn't matter if I'm not taking care of my needs. But if you do not take care of your needs, you're going to break at some point and you're not going to be able to take care of those around you. Whether you're a mom or dad or not even any of those things, but you are in the workforce and you're single and everything, you're going to break at some point if you're not taking care of yourself. And I think routines actually go into that. They help you be able to take care of yourself. You're taking that moment to prepare yourself for whatever activity you're going to go into. Um, and I think mindset shifting on that is an important piece to work on. And then also making so it's not overwhelming. You're only, if you're changing your routine or updating your routine, only changing one thing at a time before you add on other things.
I
I feel
love
like New Year's resolutions get a bad rap because of that. I don't really do resolutions because I know that doesn't work for me.
that.
um, Having like 500 different things you want to change all at one time will not serve you. It will not work for you. It doesn't work for anybody.
there's a there's a nugget right there.
It doesn't work for anybody. You're not alone when you fail in your New Year's resolution. Is okay. Everybody does
Yeah, I
because
love
you're trying
that.
to do too many things at one
Yeah,
time.
I
Just
love
change one
that.
thing. There's one
Yeah,
thing, one tiny thing, and then like build the next step, like you were talking about. You have them work on just even waking up early in the morning. Like I
Mhm.
would have to do that. 'Cause I am not an early morning person.
Right now.
And I've had
Right now.
several early morning jobs, and I just am not an early morning person. Like that does not work for me. I can do it, but it's not like I don't enjoy it.
Right, I'm the same way. Ryan Morris and I were the night shift. So
Yep.
Nick was the person who's up early in the morning, and Ryan and I are like the night shift. We're the ones that are like making stuff happen at like 3 in the morning with people from Australia.
Yeah.
Um, oh my gosh, I love that. Maybe I can get hypnotized. Yeah, and Tana, I love that you're the opposite, and I love that Tana says I'm the opposite. So you're a morning person, right? I love that that works for you.
Mhm.
It works for a lot of people. I know a lot of successful people that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start their day. So
That's just so icky to me. I'm like,
yeah, right? Like
no, that's the nope thing for me. Nope.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
work for me.
I think a lot of people too there's a lot of people working from home now as well.
Yeah.
So like people are finding new routines and finding time for self-care
Yeah.
um and how did that work for you when you started this new adventure with working from home? Um, what what self-care do you do? When do you schedule it? How do you get it in there? Yeah, I'd love to hear like support systems that you've created for yourself. What has worked for you?
Yeah. So that has been a challenge to do, just because of timing things and just being a mom. But my self-care has turned into like going to the nail salon and getting my nails done. And I actually like I bring Emma with me and she gets her nails done too. And we just have a grand old time. I'm lucky to have a child that is able to do that. And realize not everybody's child is going to be able to sit at the nail salon for a couple hours while mom gets her nails done. Cause like I don't just do polish.
Yeah, no, I know. They're gorgeous.
I like do acrylic nails because my nails are brittle and I like them to be stronger, and acrylic gives me that. I like to give them a challenge of doing different designs and things, and it happens. And that takes a lot of time. But it's something that I like to do, and it's something that she enjoys doing with me as well. And that's like a self care thing that I do. My other self care thing is actually showering every day. I shower every day, just about every day at night. And that's I when my husband is home and he can be playing with Emma while I go do this for like 30 minutes, and that's my alone time. Because I think it's important to also have alone time. If you're constantly by with people, you kind of need that. Some people need more than others. I am technically, I guess you could call me an extroverted introvert. I'm very introverted, but you
Yeah,
don't know it because I'm pretty bubbly too.
yeah,
Um, and for me, like, I need that alone time to regenerate, like, rejuvenate. Let's reset. Let's give my energies back and everything. Because being with a lot of people is draining. It's fun, but it's draining for me. And so having that alone time and like being pretty demanding about it, like I demand that time. I'm not rude about it, but like that's my time and it happens every night. And that's the
yeah.
time that I need. I think also I am an artist as well. So taking some time to either create or try something new in that aspect is another self-care thing that I do. It doesn't happen all the time, but I do have things in place that I can do that will help me to do that. Little Emma is also loves to do creative things. So sometimes it's me and her sitting down and I'm working on something and she's working on something and we just have fun doing it. Uh, Again, it goes into like what works for you and knowing yourself pretty well to know when you need those activities. This is like it could be a whole nother topic, but there's something called sacred rest. It's a book. It's called Sacred Rest, and it actually goes into several different types of rest, because I think and those actually go correspond to like self-care activities. And a lot of people, like, when you think about rest, you're like, oh, I just need to go sleep and then I'll feel better if you're feeling tired. But you're not necessarily sleep tired. Something else inside you is tired and needs a
Mm.
restorative activity. Um, so that could be going outside. I find going and being outside very grounding and very restorative to myself. That could be creating something. That could be sitting, like, I think it was Tana. She said even just reading for me is
Mhm.
a self-care activity. Me too. I love reading. um, Showers and baths can be restorative. Going to the spa could be restorative. It's very individualized, and you need to figure out what your restorative activities are. Maybe it's going and hanging out with your friends once a month or even every other week, and that's a restorative activity. Um, but it all goes into helping you continue being you, if that made sense.
It does. I'm just gonna put that nugget up here. Restorative activity or
Activities. Mhm.
activities. Yeah, and so I actually do this work with clients. I will have them check in on their energy. So, how are you energetically after being in this person's energy? So, if you go and hang out with a group of friends, do you feel drained of your energy or do you
Yeah,
feel empowered in your energy? When you go
right.
outside and hug a tree, does it says Nicole when with talking about nature, right? Because when
Yeah,
you go out into nature, how is your energy? Is I have friends who definitely do not like to go out in nature. And so it does not cause their energy to be
right.
uplifted, the positive energy. It causes anxiety because they're afraid of, dirt or bugs or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so that person, it may be for you, yoga, or it may
Mhm.
be, I love that you brought art into it, creating. That's a good way to restore your energy. How many times have we created something and then afterwards we just feel so good energetically? It's like, or when you're working on a project, have
Mhm.
you ever done a piece of art and you've just like been focused and stayed up for
Oh, yeah.
days like, working on it? Yeah, well, it's like when you're in a relationship with someone that's just brand new and your energy like shifts and you can stay
Mhm.
up talking to them till 3 in the morning because you're
Energized.
because you have that that oxytocin is like going, right? And so
Yeah,
I feel like with creative energy as well, like you can stay up for days and work on something you're passionate about because it gives you energy.
exactly. And I think like creativity, even, like, you don't have to be an artist to be creative. Uh, you don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different creative things that happen in your life that you've created. Like, you created this show. That was creative. You created your different coaching programs. That's creative. People who write different business proposals. That's creative. I think when people think you can do, like, you got to go do a creative activity, they think, "Oh, I have to paint or I have to draw." You don't. You don't even have to sculpt. Like, just go
Yeah.
outside and create a path. Go outside and plant something. You're creating life. Like, you're putting life somewhere else. Um, and I think that that's a different mindset shift. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that scheduling. I call it vitamins F and vitamins N. So scheduling into your schedule fun and nature. So
Yes.
the vitamin F is vitamin fun and the vitamin N is vitamin nature.
Yes.
Definitely scheduling that into your routine to make sure that you're energetically that you're supported. I
Hmm.
love that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just and I think it should be stressed that you don't have to have a routine for every single moment of every single day. I think there are routines that happen occasionally, and then there are routines that are a daily routine. Like, my daily routine typically is getting up, getting breakfast, and getting right to work, and then getting ready if I end up at that point. Um, but maybe sometimes my routine is getting up early, even though I don't particularly enjoy that, getting ready right then and leaving the house to go somewhere to do something. Um, your routines are different at different points in your life, and that's a good thing. Is they should serve different purposes in your life. They should always be serving you
I love
in a
that.
different order.
Little Browner. I'm new at this, if you couldn't tell.
You're all
I'm
good. It's all
I'm
good.
used to having a team here of like Nick and Ryan with being like working things and stuff. So I'm learning. I'm
Yeah.
learning my new routine that I'm creating, and I get to do
Yeah.
that here with you and our amazing viewers. Let's see here. Love this. Always serving you. Yeah. And like realizing that we have operating systems that were in place before, like when Candace was working as a special ed teacher, like her routine served her at that time. And then they didn't anymore. And it's okay to sit down and revamp. I know when we started homeschooling, well, virtual online with my son, it was really empowering for him to sit down and have a schedule because he was used to having a Candace that set up his day for him. And then he comes to mom and mom's like, what am I doing? And so we sat down together and we came up with a daily routine. And I can't tell you how empowering it was for him to, number one, be part of that, but then have an idea of what to expect during the day. It set him up for success.
Yes. It
So
really does. It's very interesting how that works out.
yeah, our habits really do shape like our lives, what
Mhm.
habits that we take on.
Mhm.
Another thing that I liked that you kind of said, but didn't say, is scheduling time to do nothing. I think this is really empowering with working with clients. I will tell them, like, sometimes the most productive thing you can do is rest. And
Yes.
that means scheduling time in your calendar to sit and watch Netflix without shame or guilt around it. Schedule time to go and just sit in nature. Like, we don't have to constantly be grinding. We don't have to constantly be busy and doing something to be successful. How many
Exactly.
times I think about doing like a monotonous activity. I had a friend in Ireland and he laid carpet, and he would just say that he loved it because his mind, he was like so into what he was doing. His body almost did it automatically, but his mind went to a different place. And so he would have like different lyrics or different poetry that would just come out, or different ideas that would come out, because he was able to kind of just let his creative energy go with
Yeah.
doing something. And I think sometimes we do that, like with driving. I know
Mhm.
that for men specifically, going for a drive is a great way when they're feeling different, like strong emotions, because
Mhm.
you're driving the car, but your mind can just kind of go to
And
a different
yeah,
place. So
it's
schedule
meditative.
time to go for a ride. Sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right. It's a there. Those are activities that are very meditative in nature. Um, that is so. I am an artist, but I also Parker. Yes, binge watching. We
You
did
can
a lot of
totally schedule
that.
that into your day. That is part of your routine. Binge
Yes.
watching.
Yeah, I love that you say like scheduling time to do nothing is actually very beneficial, and that is you can overstimulate yourself with activities, and your mind has to rest and like um, process all of that stuff that you just did, and you have to give your brain a rest. You have to give your body a rest of like it's okay to do nothing, and I think there's another thing to stress that you have the housework has no moral obligation to it. You're not morally obligated. You're not a bad person if it doesn't get done, right? You're not a bad person if the dishes sit in the sink. I have a sink full of dishes. I'm not a bad person because of it. I just haven't gotten to them. And that's okay. You're not a bad person if the floor doesn't get swept and mopped or vacuumed. You're not a bad person if you didn't get out the door to get groceries today. That's fine. You're not a bad person if you eat takeout. That's fine.
Yeah, Tana.
There's
Your
there's
pizza and french
no
fries is okay.
moral anything attached to those things. They're just things that happen to need to be done at some point. But you're not a bad person because they don't get done. Or you're not a bad person because it does get done. Like eating takeout. I love it. We don't do it all the time. But
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because you can play it both ways. Like for me, I used to feel guilt around cleaning my house and taking time away from my children. So
yeah,
it's like I know some people that just like their focus was cleaning the house and then their relationship with their children would slip because and they didn't have guilt about it, right? But for me, it was opposite when I
yeah.
was a stay-at-home mom of like, I'm spending all this time on the routine with my home, but
Hmm.
I'm not spending time with my children. So it can go either way. If we want to feel guilty about something, like,
We can. We're pretty
yeah,
good at it. Like
you're
that's a
really
thing
good
that
at it,
everybody is good at.
right? And it's
Making
just,
themselves feel guilty over something.
yeah. And so giving yourself permission, that's one of the things I love about coaching. It's like you have permission to eat French fries and pizza. Like you
Yeah.
have permission to do that and without judgment,
Hmm.
because I feel like the judgment and the shame leads into a spiral of
Yeah.
self-destructive behaviors,
Right.
right? If we have that guilt and shame. And so being able to come here and powerfully say that, like I find freedom in that and
Yeah.
kind of like you don't have to feel guilty about your sink full of dishes,
Nope.
right? But you don't have to feel guilty about doing dishes and having your child entertain themselves for 5 minutes, you know? Like,
Exactly. You
yeah,
don't have to feel guilty about them being on a screen watching something and while you get something else done.
yeah,
You don't have to do that.
yeah. There's
Okay.
room for, yeah, I love that so
We
much.
we have so many hours in the day to do other things too. I think we don't have to. I found that like setting a timer for myself to get something done, like housework stuff, because I don't really enjoy housework.
Yeah, I love it.
If I set a timer for myself to complete a task, then I don't feel overwhelmed by that task and it will get done. If I look at my whole house and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do XYZ, QPR, 1, 2, 3, all of the things have to be done, then nothing's going to get done. Um,
Yeah, I love that. So just small, I say small hinges swing big doors.
yes,
So maybe you don't get all the dishes done, but
you
like
get
they're at least all in the sink and not
things
around the house or, you know?
right. Yeah, you went through the house and you gathered up all the empty cups that somehow appear through the house, or the plates, and you put them in the sink. Excellent. You did some of the dishes. They don't
Yeah.
have to be in the dishwasher. They don't have to be crystally clean to do dishes. Just do a little thing, and then it usually motivates you to continue doing something, and it's a productive motivation. Um, Maybe making a routine of okay, every night I close down my kitchen, and to close down my kitchen, thank you. um, it means to wipe down the counters and make sure that the dishes on the drying rack were put away, and maybe I get the sink cleared. Then my kitchen is closed down, and that's a routine at night that I do. But maybe that doesn't serve everybody. Like sometimes that serves me and sometimes it doesn't serve me. So it just depends, again, which routines are serving you and which aren't.
Yeah,
What
I
is
love
your
that.
routine doing?
Yeah, I know I'm a big Elon Musk fan. I mention him all the time and everything, but I know he schedules his days out 5 minutes at a time. So it's like every like to be that detailed. And then also scheduling his sleep. That is a routine for him, at least 6 hours, because less than 6 hours, he's not as productive.
Ah,
So it definitely impacts um, production when you don't get enough rest.
Yes.
Yeah, and spending energy. So Natalie is here. She does hair. That's why I love that she said, love your hair. So Candace's sister, Maddie Lamont, she does hair, and she did my hair, and she does Candace's hair. Okay, I have a schedule set for cleaning my house so I don't get burned out. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those little things that I tend to do during the week that hopefully make it so that the weekend isn't overwhelming of deep clean the house every weekend, because I don't think that's very helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do every Saturday morning when my house is quiet, everyone's asleep in bed, is when I get up and clean my house. And I love it because I have like one day or one moment for the whole entire week where I can look at my house and be like, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah.
Because to me, having a clean home, my environment contributes so much to what it is that I'm creating. And so I notice that if my house is clean, and it's a Nicole thing, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but for me, I just feel like, okay, like I can now enjoy my weekend with my family. And I am always creating my home as a sacred space that is filled with love and light, and where people come and feel comfortable. And so I just love like being able to have my children at home in this, like, it's not even about it being clean. It's just like the energy.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people, I talk to my house. So it's, as I'm sweeping, like I'm talking to my house and putting that energy out or clearing out negative energy. So I just find that it is something that's very important to me. I love this. Natalie says anything that creates momentum. And I think shutting down your kitchen at night and just letting that go and being able to go in and go to sleep, like you feel complete for your day, right?
Yeah.
It's like a complete ritual. I love that.
Exactly.
Hello, Natalie. Yeah, I love that feeling too.
Me too.
Our homes often reflect our minds. I agree. I agree.
For me, like if my workspace gets too cluttered or too crazy, then I'm not productive until it gets cleaned. But yeah, different routines, different things serve different purposes and different points of our lives. When I didn't have little Emma, it was a lot easier to keep the house clean. And it will eventually become that way again when I have an older child.
It's so true. Because when my kids were Emma's age and my house was not my priority, having a clean house was not my priority. And my children, it was just like being a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids, it was just so overwhelming at times that it was not my priority. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like I have so much more empowerment around being a mother because I didn't put my priorities on my home. I put it on my children, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I tend to feel the same way. Like I tend to be more present with little Missy Emma than I am with the dishes or with the pile of stuff that accumulates on the counter. No matter how many times we reorganize something, there's always that junk corner. I don't know what it is, but there's always that junk corner.
Yeah, without guilt, right?
Yeah, without guilt. No, that's fine.
Because you can't give this time back with Emma.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So my routines serve me in being productive and when I need to be productive, and they serve me in when I need to be focused as a mother, and letting that happen. She's tired. It's about her nap time.
We're getting close to the end of our show. So I would like to maybe check in and see what action steps viewers can, let's see what Natalie says. I made the mistake of focusing on my home and not delegating it to other members of my home. I think it's important for everyone to serve each other. I love this. Delete, delegate, and delay. It's one of the things I definitely support my clients with being able to give things away, especially like, I don't know if any of you guys are those people that Well, they may clean the house, but they won't clean it the way that I clean it, right?
Yes.
And so then you go behind their back and like clean it like
Again.
people. So I love that Natalie's suggesting like letting go and delegating to other members of your home. I also have clients that I will tell them like hire someone to come in once or twice a week. I
Yeah.
mean, time is valuable. I'm sure you can find someone to come clean your house for a lot less than you make an hour, and allow them to come in and do that for you. So it frees up time for you to be with your children,
Yeah.
and not feel, I don't know. It's just one of those things that delegating, and then also if not only to people in your home, but people outside your home, it gives someone a job and it frees up energy for you.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're getting to the end of our show. I'd like to know 3 action steps that you guys would like to take on this week, and 3 action steps, and then also your aha moment. Yes, I shuddered to watch how they cleaned. However, they had such a sense of accomplishment. I love that. It adds value to your family unit. This is beautiful. Oh, thank you, Natalie. So 3 action steps this week. What are your action steps?
Me? For them?
For you, for them?
Yeah. Anyone?
3 action steps that we want this week.
Going with routines, I think we should all reflect on our current routines and see if they are serving us well, and then reflect and see if there's something that needs to change to optimize them, because they might be serving us well, but are they serving us the best? And then even if there's a routine that you've realized that you need to create, and then doing those things.
So we've got checking in and seeing if our routines are serving us.
Yeah.
And then creating. You might have to remind me.
It's fine. Does something need to change in our current routines to optimize them? And do you even need to just create a routine?
Number 3. So, and you evaluating the routines that you have in your life right now. Are they working? Are they not working? Are there some little tweaks that you can take on that will help them serve you and optimize them better? And is there a new routine that you would need to create to support you powerfully with what it is that you're creating?
Yeah.
I love this. I love that Natalie has supported with giving some people in this area a good resource as far as someone who would be cleaning their house. I love this. Natalie, I love your action steps. So asking for help, hiring someone, and getting back to a routine. So those would be the 3 things that you would take on this week. And it may just be that you get one of those completed. It only count, like, no matter what you do, if you do all 3 or you do 1, it counts as a win. So take on this week, asking for help, hiring someone, and getting back to a routine. Yes, consistency. It's small steps over long periods of time that lead to success. I love that.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, making sure that you get more rest. That is so powerful. So awesome. I will be going over to a tribe of giants, and we will be able to share what we are celebrating in there and our action steps, and be able to get some support. If you're not part of the tribe of giants, please find your way over there to join. And if you're not subscribed on our YouTube channel, please go subscribe. you can also go over and subscribe to Wake Up with Giants TV. Do you have any ahas or appreciations that you're taking away from our show today? So that is, what is your aha moment? What are you guys taking away from today's show? If you guys want to share in the comments. Wake Up with Giants TV. Love that. Wake Up with a Tribe of Giants. You can find us there. Thank you, Candace, again for being here and being part of this first episode.
Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome.
And so inspired. If you guys want to find, if people want to find Candace, reach out to Candace. How could they do that?
You can find me on Facebook and you can find me on Instagram. It's the same name, Candace Christensen. I'll pop up. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Yeah, and she's my person that she was able to find lipstick that matches my hair color. She was able to find eyeshadow for me that matches my eye color, that makes my eyes pop. Just so many things that I felt lost with, that she was able to support me. But she supports me being Nicole, empowers me to be Nicole, and I'm extremely grateful for your friendship and for being my first guest.
You're welcome. I'm extremely grateful for you and your friendship. It was divine intervention that we met.
I agree. Definitely was. Okay. All right. Well, we will catch you guys. Oh, wait, we have one more. Back into a routine with exercise. Have a positive jar and add something. Resting. This first show has been my wake up call. Oh, thank you so much. You are worth it. You deserve it.
Yep.
Beautiful women create a beautiful world. I agree.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys are worth it. You guys deserve it. And we will see you guys on our next show. Thank you so much for tuning in. But like I always say, love you guys.
Love you guys.